What is up? Welcome to 5 Stars, 5 Points. I'm your host, Astaire, with the man with the college knowledge, 5-star, who had an excellent week last week. We were cashing. What a great Saturday. There was only one game we were wrong on. That was Oregon State. Let's talk real quick before we jump into the 5 points, just about the performance last week, because I thank you. My bankroll thanks you, and I'm sure all the listeners do as well.
Definitely, man. Oregon State was the only one who disappointed us, man. And the only reason that we had that disappointment was after speaking so highly about their coach. This always happens and never fails. That after you blow up these guys and talk about how smart they are, they come let you down. Oregon State's coach blew that. I know you watched the games,
Yeah.
Spread. I mean, it was so unnecessary. He started going for 2-point conversions down 21, I want to say. He started the 2-point conversion nonsense. They fell on 3 straight 2-point conversions. Guess how much they lose by? They lose by 9 points, right? So,
Yeah.
the 7.5 was definitely good if he coaches the game normally instead of trying to be so smart. Sometimes these guys get beyond their self, and that's when I call they start getting too nerdy with the analytics, man, and doing too much, man. Just keep your game, keep your team rolling, keep your team happy. They just scored, they're fighting back. Why would you want to knock the momentum by going for 2-point conversion? And if you guys don't make it now, that touchdown kind of washes out. You know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I was disappointed in that, but I was very, very, very pleased with Jim Harbaugh finally getting the monkey off his back against Ohio State. We were all on that game early. We got it 8.5. We got it money line. When the weather came, we knew that the money line was good. Michigan played exactly what we thought they were going to play, and that was Michigan football. They took it back to the old school. They ran the rock with Haskins. Aiden Hudson dominated the game. The defensive line, just great play by the whole entire Michigan team. The defense stepped up. Everybody played well, man. Just as I told you, man, I knew that any type of pressure put on Ohio State's young quarterback, a little scheme, giving him a mix where these receivers weren't going to be running 15 yards wide open, that he was going to show that he was a freshman, and C.J. Stroud is a great player. He has an awesome future, but he's still young. And Michigan was able to confuse him, man. Great job by Mike McDonald, the defensive coordinator for Michigan. But as we said, Oregon State's the only one that stood in the way of a perfect weekend. But, hey, you know how we do. We roll up our sleeves and we keep it moving, man.
Yeah, as a guy out here in California, I do, happy to catch the bet. Was also happy for Harbaugh as well, right? He makes his name at University of San Diego, then goes up to Stanford, completely turns that program around. Then, that great run with the 49ers. I had high hopes going into Michigan. And because I had such high hopes, people were disappointed. He's still been a great coach there, but it was nice for him to finally get a high-profile win. And that was the story of the college football world until, right, we were rocked midweek with some coaching changes. So we got to start with this one. What are your thoughts on the hirings of Lincoln Riley to USC and Brian Kelly to LSU?
Hey, man, it's amazing for the sport. As someone, as you know, Spread, that loves college football, I've been playing the game since I was 7 years old. I've been following collegiate football since I can remember, man. I'm talking about going back to Tony Rice and the option with Notre Dame and Rocket Ishmael. I could barely speak, but I loved college football immediately, man. There was something about it more. I think it was more relatable to me because I love playing the sport so much. And with me being in high school football was a lot more like college football than NFL was. So with all that said, I'm saying this to say this is one of the most exciting times I can ever remember in my 30 years of watching college football and betting it, man. To see these guys make these type of moves at the end of the season is incredible. We needed this. Pardon me. We needed to shake up the college world with this. This brings some attention to the sport. Just like P.T. Barnum said, whether it's good or bad publicity, it's still publicity, man. They're really angry, a lot of the people back at Oklahoma and in Notre Dame, but hey, they'll get over it. Both programs are solid programs. Notre Dame has already kept it in-house and made a great hire with Marcus Freeman, making them, when we were just speaking about more minority coaches, great hire by Notre Dame. But hey, man, I can't be mad at all with LSU getting Brian Kelly, but I'm going to start with Lincoln Riley. Lincoln Riley going to USC, man, is phenomenal. He's going to have great success there. It was the real tactical move by him. As you see, he has 2 recruits already following him, and both the recruits happen to be from California, his top 2 recruits that were coming to Oklahoma, Malachi Nelson, the 5-star quarterback, and the kid from Mater Dei, the running back that they picked up too. What's the guy? Raleek Brown. Yeah, Raleek Brown from Mater Dei. He's the top running back in Southern California. So Lincoln Riley's already been planning and putting this together. I'm sure his wife and he have already spoke about this. Anyone who's familiar with that part of the world knows that if you have money, one of the best places in the world to live is Southern California. So I'm sure that they'll be out in OC somewhere living it up. Their kids get the chance to experience a different lifestyle, living in beautiful Los Angeles than living in the Midwest in Oklahoma in the middle of nowhere. So I'm sure that it was a decision that he made based on more than just football, but it also is going to benefit him in football. You go to a school who has tradition like none other. The first, as I was saying, when I remember when I remember watching sports as a child, the first 2 teams I remember is Notre Dame with Tony Rice, USC with Rodney Peete. Those are the first games, the first 2 teams that I remember, and it's because of the way that those schools, the pomp, all of the circumstance that goes with them, man, they're a big deal. So him going to USC, I'm sure he's going to bring back all the tradition that they recently just had when Reggie Bush was there. He's an awesome recruiter, awesome offensive mind. So I expect big things out of Lincoln Riley, and I expect him to dominate the Pac-12. He doesn't have anyone really he has to deal with, but right across town with Chip Kelly. And hey, man, Chip Kelly's going to take a big hit with recruits with Lincoln Riley coming to town. Going to Brian Kelly, going to LSU, I got to get personal with that. Go Tigers. I'm a diehard LSU fan, native Louisianan. I moved to Houston at a small age, but my roots and all my family's from Louisiana. We're all LSU fans. That's all I've ever known in my household is going for the purple and gold. Hey, man, I'm super excited. The last 3 coaches that have coached at LSU have won the national championship. I expect the same from Brian Kelly. He's much more competent than Coach O, even though I love Coach O's moxie. He wasn't an X and O guy. He wasn't a real tactician. Brian Kelly is. Even before that, the Mad Hatter, Les Miles, same way. More with motivation, more good at recruiting, going in families' homes and swaying mothers to allow him to be a father figure to their children, but not about the X's and O's and necessarily giving them the type of game plans that were going to be successful. It was just a bunch of talent. Now, with that talent combined with Brian Kelly's know-how, all right, man, it's going to get real, real scary in LSU, man. It's going to get real scary over the next decade. Brian Kelly is everything that Nick Saban was pulling up to LSU, and I expect the same results. He's going to be right in the mix competing for the national championship every year, starting with next year. They have enough manpower right now. Everybody was hurt last year. They got stars everywhere. I'm sure he's going to get Max Johnson on point. He'll be a second-year starter with 3 years of experience. And I expect big things from Brian Kelly. I know they already clouding him, saying he has a Louisiana accent.
That was funny.
Hey, man, it's not where you're from. It's where you at, man. And when you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. He's getting paid $10 million. He's not worried about you guys. He's worried about the people in Louisiana feeling comfortable about it. So keep doing what you're doing, BK. I'm looking forward to everything that's about to happen with LSU. I couldn't be prouder of the administration for that hire. And both guys, great job. The only loser in this, of course, is the fan bases. But, hey, time heals everything. Like I said, they already have a great coach they've replaced Brian Kelly with that he mentored. And then Marcus Freeman, I expect great things from him. I actually expect him to be able to take Notre Dame to a higher level than Brian Kelly was because he'll be able to extend the recruiting base with just his youth and being who he is. Oklahoma, they still haven't made a hire. I'm hearing they're trying to get the coordinator from Clemson, but good luck with that. And I'm sure that Dabo is going to pay him whatever it takes to keep him around. So good luck to Oklahoma fan base on their hiring. But I'm very excited about both hires, man.
All right, and let me do a follow-up question here because I agree with you that both hires are good. California, I'm waiting for this Pac-12 to become relevant again, right? And Lincoln Riley seems like the perfect guy there. Brian Kelly spent 11 years at Notre Dame, right? It's not like he's just bouncing around looking for greener pastures. My only pushback or follow-up question for you would be, is there any way that these can happen after the bowl season? Like it just seems, for an Oklahoma team that's going to play a bowl game, a Notre Dame team, that was close to the national championship, probably won't be in that Final Four, but we'll get a bowl game. To lose their coach at this time of the year, it just seems kind of rough. I just don't understand why, they can't announce these hires or get this stuff starting after January. Of course, I'm not as knowledgeable as you when it comes to the recruiting, the cycles and things like that. Is there any way the NCAA can push this back, or is this just something that's here to stay?
Well, actually, in past years, this would have occurred after the bowl season. The reason why it's occurring now is because of the NCAA, actually, and it's because they had the early recruiting, and that's became big now, man. Like, you can't get behind on the recruiting because the recruiting is basically college football. Without being able to get players to your school, you can't win. So that's why both coaches had to make the moves when they did, because if not, they were going to be too behind on the recruiting process. And they also were actually doing both institutions that they left a favor by allowing the next guy to get in as quick as possible, because it's going to be some turnover with the recruits. But to answer your question, it's all due to the NCAA. The NCAA allowed the recruiting to start earlier than it has in past years. They passed that rule a little while back, and ever since they passed it, coaches have had to start recruiting in December and in November instead of in the spring. So all we could do was just, deal with the system that we have. Both coaches did what was necessary, not only for their self and for their future programs, but it also was good for the programs that they were leaving.
Yeah, I personally think that they should push it back, just because, you imagine being a Notre Dame fan and then you don't get, your coach and your team going into the bowl games. Also devalues the bowl games. You and I are going to love them regardless, but, maybe a little continuity there. But definitely agree. These are great moves overall for college football. I just question the timing a bit. But let's move on to something, that's that everyone wants to know about that does have to do with this season, and everyone's going to want to know. Who's your favorite for the Heisman right now? Who wins the Heisman?
Hey, man, everything right now is in Bryce Young's hands, in my opinion, after that spectacular comeback against Auburn. He showed, clutch play. Stats this year, everyone's stats are good. It's not going to be a stat award this year. It's going to be based on who plays the best in the games with the most eyes on them. C.J. Stroud had the opportunity, but he blew it against Michigan. Michigan's lately, some of Michigan's defensive players, where their defensive line start, Hudson has been getting some noise from some voters. I've never seen a D lineman win the Heisman. I want to say maybe, if my historical memory is correct, Hugh Green maybe won the Heisman, maybe at Pitt before we were both born. But
I remember that.
I'm a historian when it comes to college football. I watch anything that has ever came on about it on TV. So I saw that somewhere. I want to say Hugh Green maybe, but if I'm wrong, please pardon me. I know that Charles Woodson did, as a defensive player, win the Heisman, but of course he was a DB and he also was a kick returner. At this point, as I said, Bryce Young is definitely in the driver's seat, and I expect him to win it because, as you're going to see me speaking a bit later on the 5 stars player of the week, I expect a big week from him this week against Georgia, and I think that'll solidify him. But if he does not play well against Georgia, then looks like we'll be able to cash the bet we had earlier, Kenneth Walker III, when we caught him at a ridiculous number, like the second, third week of the season. So I have actually a ticket on both of them now. Of course, the Kenneth Walker ticket pays a little bit better, but I got something on Bryce Young after they lost to A&M. So we'll see how it works out, but it's definitely between, I'd say, Bryce Young and Kenneth Walker III for the Heisman.
All right, well, let's jump into this week's game. Championship weekend is here. Let's start with the Mountain West. San Diego State is -6. They'll be taking on Utah State. What are your thoughts on this game?
These guys coming to this game, both teams are very familiar with each other. San Diego State, they're always an excellent team. They've always based their program on running the ball and playing good defense. Utah State is actually they're a surprising team this year. This is Blake Anderson's first year. He came from Arkansas State. He was a great coach at Arkansas State, did a great job of building that program. And he got, Utah State into the championship game, man. Surprised a lot of people this season. They played well, but they haven't played a real strong schedule. Their last victories are kind of, I'm just say they won as what was in front of them, but it wasn't difficult competition. They run into a San Diego State team that's playing good ball. Just came off of beating Boise State. Utah State is 3-14 all time against San Diego State. San Diego State is used to beating them up. They used to dominating them on the line. I think that'll continue. Utah State is ranked 84th in stopping the run. I don't see them being able to slow down San Diego State. And even if they ball up the run, I really, really like that Jordan Brookshire is back at the quarterback position for San Diego State. You know, we had him last week, spread. You saw what he did when he came in. He saved the day. That kid can play. He was locked in. He was on target. He also led the team in rushing. He's a real playmaker. And you rarely see San Diego State with a playmaker at the quarterback position. So I expect Jordan Brookshire to really take control of this game and for San Diego State to get on Utah State early and keep control of the game through time of possession, running the ball, being smart on third down. And I also expect some turnovers. Logan Bonner, who's the quarterback for Utah State, is an awesome quarterback. He has 32 touchdown passes, but he's a gunslinger, man. I remember him back from Arkansas State. He's a real risk taker. And San Diego State is averaging a little bit over 1.5 interceptions, so basically 2 interceptions a game. So I expect him to throw a couple picks to a ball hawking San Diego State defense. And also their pass rush is unbelievable for San Diego State. They have a kid, number 99, man. He looks like the second coming to J.J. Watt against the competition in the Mountain West. So I really think San Diego State rolls in this game. For sure, the touchdown is good. The game will be held in Carson, California, which is about 2 hours from the campus of San Diego State. I'm sure that they're going to be deep at that game. And I look for the Aztecs to win the Mountain West Championship. So take San Diego State and lay a reasonable touchdown in a game that they're used to dominating. As I told you, Utah State is 3-14 all time in the conference against San Diego State.
All right, I'm with you there. Be jumping in on San Diego State. Good to the touchdown. I see a 6.5 at offshore. That is still good. Let's jump into the American Athletic Conference Championship, where Houston is plus 10.5, taking on a Cincinnati team, right? That we've definitely had some strong opinions about this team so far. What are your takes on the American Athletic Conference Championship?
I've been waiting on this game all season. Honestly, you know, we spoke about it earlier. I really believe that the University of Houston has a very, very strong chance of winning this game. It all boils down to one player, Clayton Tune, the quarterback for the University of Houston. He's another guy that's similar to Logan Bonner, where he's a real playmaker. He makes things happen. He can throw the ball. He's thrown for over 3,000 yards this season, but he is turnover prone. Sometimes he makes mistakes. And at this junction, it's no way that the Cougs can afford that, and especially early in this game. If they turn the ball over early in the game, Cincinnati will cover because they're going to give Cincinnati the confidence they need. They're already, I'm going to say, marginally a better team. Not by much, but the poll said they have a more veteran quarterback. They have the defense. You think it's more starter, but actually, University of Houston has a higher ranked total defense. A lot of people don't know that. And so Cincinnati definitely needs to be in a game for the Cougs to cover. They need to be Cincinnati needs to be in a game that's tight. And by meaning that is Houston cannot allow them to get any breathers. The whole game needs to be tight from the beginning to the end. If they get on them early, get ahead early, get a fast start, they can actually pull out the money line. Because I'm telling you, the more this game goes, the longer it goes being close, the worse Cincinnati's going to play. You know, I'm not a big fan of their quarterback, Desmond Ritter, pardon me. Ritter is he's 6'4", has all the size. He's just one of those guys who I really don't trust his body language. When things get to going bad, I don't like how he reacts. He threw 2 interceptions last week against East Carolina. He's thrown interception in 5 of the last 6 games. And it's coincidental that during these games, these have been the pressure games where they're getting closer and closer to decide whether they're going to go to the playoffs all season long, even going into the season. In preseason, people were picking Cincinnati to be one of the first teams from outside the power conferences to get into the playoffs. So it's a lot of pressure on Desmond Ritter, and I don't think he's going to respond well. Houston is a defense led by Coach Belk. he's one of the hottest assistants in the country, man. Everybody wants to hire Coach Bell because he's doing a phenomenal job. He's an X and O coach and a motivator. The Cougars have some dudes, man, on offense and on defense. What a lot of people also don't know is the Cougars are ranked 8th in stopping the run in the whole country and 8th in total defense, whereas in Cincinnati is only ranked 9th in total defense, but they're 45th against stopping the run. If the Cougars are patient, run out to McCaskill, they're going to be able to run the ball successfully on Cincinnati. Pardon me. Also, I look for Dale, the electric receiver for Houston, to make some plays, and also Houston is dynamic in the return game and on defense. So they have so many pick sixes, so many scoop and scores this season. A lot of the country hasn't watched Houston play this year. I have, with me living in the city for 25 years, my father being from there, my brother being an alumni of Houston. I keep up with Houston athletics. The Cougars are the real deal this year. This is a bad line. The 10.5 is too much. The only way that Cincinnati can cover this game is if Houston turns the ball over. If they protect the field, Houston wins the game straight out money line. But we're going to take the plus 10.5.
So we took the favorite in the Mountain West. We've got the dog here in the American Athletic Conference. Let's go to the game that, it's the game of the week, right? The one that all eyes will be on. And why not? What a historic rivalry here. Alabama is plus 6.5 against Georgia in the SEC championship that is going to have implications on the championship 4.
Well, I told you in a previous show that a wise man told me when I first began betting football. There are 2 rules. Don't bet against Tom Brady. Don't bet against Nick Saban. That time I said that, we faded Nick Saban and we regretted it against Ole Miss.
Right.
Nick Saban loves to teach his assistants lessons about who's still the Godfather. He enjoys it. It's one of the things he loves to do. It's no way I could bet sports the next 100 years. It's no way that I'm ever going to lay 7 points against Nick Saban coach team. It's no way I'm laying 6 points against Alabama. It's no way that I'm going to pass 2-1 odds on Alabama on a neutral field. It's no way I'm not going to also remember that Georgia's lost the last 6 times it's played Alabama. Not only have they lost, Alabama has covered the spread easily. I'm also not going to ever forget that the last time that Nick Saban was an underdog, it was against Georgia at Georgia. Spread, what was the final score of that game?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
38-10.
Oh, wow.
The worst thing that could have happened for Georgia and its fans this past weekend was the performance that Alabama had against Auburn. They would have been in a lot better position if Alabama had rolled Auburn as the books thought they would have. But with that game being so close, so tight, it's a dream situation for Nick Saban. He can ride those kids all week this week. He can tell them about how sorry they are and everything that they're doing wrong, and how if they listen to him, they'll be great. And guess what? They're going to do it this week. They get back their star receiver who was caught on a ridiculous targeting penalty. He was taken out the game, but he played this whole game. Jameson Williams plays this game. They were missing him because they need him and Mechie on each side of the field together because they play off one another. The way that they run their offense is whichever side the safety takes the other guys one-on-one, he's going to kill them because they have the most outstanding athletes on the outside of Alabama. You know that. It's LSU and Alabama have the best receivers. Everyone knows that. And those receivers are going to eat. A lot of people are saying, well, what about Bill O'Brien? As you know, I'm not a fan of Bill O'Brien at all. But once again, with what happened last week, with the performance of the offense last week at Auburn, now old St. Nick is going to be more involved this week. He's going to be completely in the offensive meetings this week. He's not going to let Bill O'Brien just run the show like he's been doing because he had an opportunity last week to actually blow the whole season before the season even started for Alabama. They're not going to take this opportunity lightly. As you and I know, Spread, Alabama has to win this week. If they don't win, most likely they're not in the college football playoff. Whereas if Georgia wins the game or loses the game, they're still going to the college football playoffs regardless because this will be their first loss of the year, and it'll be a loss in the SEC championship game against a game Alabama team. You got to take Alabama plus 6.5. You got to take Alabama plus 220. This is Christmas time. You're never going to get that number again in your life with Alabama. They're selling you guys a dream if you really think that Stetson Bennett is going to beat Alabama. This game is going to be a gridlock. We got two outstanding defenses. But what a lot of people don't know is Alabama's higher ranked at stopping the run than Georgia is. Alabama's going to shut down Georgia's running game. It's going to come down to Stetson Bennett, and he's going to show you how average he is. Whereas when Georgia shuts down Alabama's running game or contains it, we're going to see how special Bryce Young is. We're taking Roll Tide. We're taking Nick Saban, and we're going to take it all day, every day, plus 6.5 and the plus 220. And if you're smart guys, you will take the plus 222. Don't bet against Alabama.
Oh, I love it. 5-star. That was a premier breakdown for a premier game. I mean, if you're not hyped to bet Alabama after that, I don't know what to tell you. So a quick review of the 5 points. Of course, we talked about everything and we gave out 3 plays. We gave out San Diego State -6 in the Mountain West over Utah State. We're going to take Houston plus 10.5 against Cincinnati. But the 5-star pick of the week, Alabama plus 6.5. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Remember to follow 5-star in Vegas. Spell out the 5 at 5-star in Vegas on Twitter. He's giving you plays, thoughts during the games, all types of things. And, of course, you can reach out to him to become part of the Supreme Clientele. I'm your host, Fred Astaire, 5-star. Anything else for the people before we sign off?
Hey, guys, this is what we love. This is championship week. We watched these teams all year just to get to this point. Follow me and let's get a wise decision made, man. Let's not make any guessing, any weird solutions about this stuff. Hey, man, it's very simple. Don't let the books trick you. Take Alabama, man. Take Alabama plus 6.5. And also, as a bonus to you guys, for you as a Christmas gift, I'm going to give you guys another parlay. Now, this parlay is a value play now. $100 play pays plus $12.50 if you take University of Houston plus Alabama money line, 2-team parlay. Alabama money line with the University of Houston money line. $100 pays $12.50. It's a great investment, even if you don't win. But we're always trying to win, of course. But if you don't, it's still a great value bet. And I'm giving you guys that just because it's Christmas time, man. Best of luck to you all.
Yeah, what a great parlay. And we will be back breaking down the bowl games. And hey, after that one, how can I not just shut this down with saying